Episode 1.
Operation Desktop.
Yeah, we're finally here.
We're here. It took us, about a month?
Too long. Yeah, too long.
Yeah.
It may not be too bad, though. I mean, a month started out from we went, got some beers one night.
Mm-hmm.
Brought up the idea of starting a YouTube channel to blow stuff up. And now we're here with a completely opposite idea.
Yeah. 180.
Yeah. So excited to be here finally, honestly. Yesterday we spent too long trying to get our first episode out there. Recorded for hours for it to all not be good.
Yep.
So hopefully there's no hiccups on this one.
Well, that's the good thing about the old trial and error,
Yeah.
We are brand new to the podcast /YouTube /influencers.
Yes, then that's true. We are now influencers, so we're gonna do what we do, and we're gonna influence.
Yeah.
So what is Operation Desktop?
Well, Operation Desktop is I would call it a avenue for us as former law enforcement officers to voice some more personal opinions, to get a lot more perspective from other places in the criminal justice world and law enforcement.
Yep.
Not just the cops, but also prosecuting attorneys.
Yep.
Maybe judges.
Yep.
Probation.
Yeah. Maybe some bad guys that have turned their lives around.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to see that for this podcast.
Yeah. That would be cool. So that's in a nutshell of what we're trying to do. Again, very small aspect. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but we figured the first thing we needed to do was explain who the heck are these two guys on this crappy camera with these crappy microphones talking. So, Jonathan, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Well, hey guys, thanks for tuning in to episode 1 again. I can't tell you how grateful and excited I am for this opportunity. This is going to be a lot of fun and a first for me. So I can definitely add this to my resume.
You have to.
So my name is Jonathan. I grew up in the Treasure Valley here in Idaho, for those of you that don't know where that's at. I'm sure anybody listening in California knows exactly where Idaho is at.
They're the state that does everything wrong.
Right, yes. So let's move here to do it right?
Yep.
No, so I grew up in the Treasure Valley, and I spent a lot of my youth around police and good police, and my family was in it. I had a grandma that worked at the courthouse, an aunt that works at the courthouse. There's another aunt that's at the federal courthouse. My uncle, he used to work here in the valley as well. And so, it was something that I just kind of, felt was my own calling.
Yeah.
People talk about that a lot, right? Like, this job is a calling.
Absolutely.
And I agree, There's definitely times where you wish you picked a different calling, like being a firefighter.
They never have to be the bad guys.
Right, they don't. Everyone is happy to see them.
Everybody loves firemen.
Well, just getting those cats out of the tree. It's all in good fun, though.
It is.
So, I spent my time around law enforcement and really understood kind of what it took to be that, and I wanted to be that. I can tell you guys a story when I was 6 years old. And being the young 6-year-old that I was, my parents were driving down, a major roadway here in town, and I saw a cop pull up alongside us. So what did I do? What does every other 6-year-old kid do that loves police? Jump out of his car seat, start waving back and forth, talking through the glass.
Yeah. I'm surprised they had car seats back then, honestly.
Hey.
My bad.
I'm 32. So, and so I was that excited about it. At 6 years old, it was like, it's in my blood. And, moving through school, took some law enforcement classes in high school, did a couple of internships, and it grew in this hunger kind of took over and consumed me.
Mm-hmm.
And fast forward, to 2008 when I go to college down at Twin Falls at the College of Southern Idaho. Did schooling down there, got a degree. It wasn't just like a basket weaving degree. It was a legitimate, like law enforcement, criminal justice type world.
Right.
And then, that all just kind of transferred, man, and things were falling into place. After I graduated, it was like, let's go to Mountain Home and let's go test with them. My testing group back in 2010 was 90 people for one spot.
Wow.
Yeah.
One spot, 90
spot.
Applicants.
And I was 20.
Yeah.
And there's 90 other people, and I'm like shaking in my boots, right? Like, oh, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm gonna get this job.
Right.
But by the grace of God and whatever the planets aligned and stars and whatever mythical things you guys believe in,
Yeah.
it all happened, and boom, there I was, a cop at 20 years old, and it was young. We'll get into that later, but. It was young.
Yeah. It's very young. Yeah. Because your clientele, right? The criminals that you deal with on the street are typically older than 20.
Oh,
so
definitely. Yeah.
Much older than 20.
Well, a mountain home, especially, it's a little. A mountain home's like a city of like 15,000 people. It's probably grown now, but I mean, way back, back in the day.
Yeah.
As I like to say, I think I'm old enough to say that now.
I
back
think so.
in the day.
Yeah, I think so. You're older than me, so yeah,
Right,
you can say it here.
So, it's just different,
Yeah.
And fast forward, to where I met you is when I started working at Caldwell.
Mm-hmm.
Great department.
Mm-hmm.
I went there at a time when it was still pretty rough going on the streets, so to speak.
Yeah.
Shootings, stabbings, gangster stuff,
gang-related crimes, violent drugs. Yeah.
Yep. Where gangsters go to learn to be gangsters type stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Caldwell was notorious for.
Yeah.
And that's where you got your street cred, right? So. I spent 12 years in police work, did a range of things from field training officer to, DUI enforcement guy to, which, hats off to those guys, man.
Mm-hmm.
I also spent a time, about 4 years in detectives with the gang unit, or at Caldwell, we called it the street crimes unit.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a pretty proactive unit dedicated to, really legitimately cleaning the streets.
Right.
You have your narc guys that, are like, oh yeah, we're doing this year-long buy program, or, this huge case, that wasn't me, man.
Yeah. And that's a whole different animal in and of itself.
Yeah,
definitely.
it is. Yeah. And hats off to those guys, man. But
the streets, man.
I was married to the streets and ready to kind of run a gun, kind of be a jump out boy,
Definitely.
And so, I was also a crisis negotiator, on the hot and sexy SWAT team.
Yeah.
I didn't put on the actual SWAT uniform, but I
was it SWAT or was it TERT back then?
I think it was TERT, TRT.
Okay. You're on the TERT team.
Tactical response team.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So crisis negotiator. I mean, that in and of itself is. I've actually seen it live action. I couldn't imagine. It takes a lot to kind of pull yourself away from the situation in a sense, and really become this person's friend, even though at the end of the day you really want this person in handcuffs.
Any crisis negotiator, red cop, whoever, you know what's going on. I'm pretty sure the guy that is in the house barricaded, has a hostage, knows how it's going to end.
Yes. Yes.
Deep down they might not want to say it, but on all of my call outs and stuff like that, everyone has surrendered peacefully.
That's
came
good.
out,
That's good.
But yeah, to get on their level, man. I mean, it's interesting. It's definitely something that's
you're almost
different.
taking your capacity out of what you're doing as an officer and putting your shoes, and I guess you're putting yourself in their shoes.
Yeah.
In that instance, and my career wasn't long enough for that. Yeah. Because I was just, I was headstrong.
Dude, 12 years, man, feels Feels
that's a
20.
good that's a good amount of time. It definitely in law enforcement. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else did you have?
Field training officer.
Yeah.
I was a
We'll talk about that
hard
for sure.
charging FTO man. Your boots better be shined. Your uniform better look good. You know, I did that for about 6 years, about 5 years actually, I think, really, and moonlit a little bit. You know, when I was in the gang unit, kind of training some guys on how to talk to the gangsters. You know.
Yep, definitely. It's a skilled trade.
Yep, it is. Not everyone has it. I'll tell you that.
No, it can get a little awkward when you're first, trying to learn the lingo.
Yep. But so yeah, I had FTO, gang cop. I was a DRE, drug recognition expert.
So what specifically is that?
So that's like doing all the DUI stuff.
Okay.
And then do it on steroids because you also have to do a bunch of other tests that are geared for, narcotics.
Yeah, drug use, not
drug
alcohol use.
Right.
Yeah. So when somebody when somebody blows a 000, they're calling you in.
Yeah, when they blow a 000 and they're still spilling their way down the street, their pupils are like the size of dinner plates. Like, there's probably something.
You can't just 000.
Yep.
No DUI.
Have a nice day. Doesn't work like that.
So you did that, which
hardest training by far I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, you practically have to be like a doctor.
Yes.
You have to learn medications. You have to learn the chemistry, in regards to those medications and how they react in your body. And that wasn't for me.
Did you go to DRE school, man?
No.
Sounds like
so
you know what's up.
they brought it up in the academy, and
okay.
they were, you have to come and do it. No, that wasn't my niche, dude.
Oh, dude. I'll tell you what,
I could not imagine.
It was brutal.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I can remember having to copy down like every single night, every single day, the drug matrix that we had. It had all the drug categories across the top.
Mm-hmm.
You had to memorize signs and symptoms.
Yeah.
Dosages. You had to memorize the method of ingestion.
It has different effects and stuff.
Oh man, dude, it was intense.
I'm sure. I could not imagine doing that. DUIs just in general weren't really, my niche.
Yeah.
There's something about them, man. I will say DUIs in the state of Idaho, again, because I haven't really done my research beyond that, they're so specific. You know what I mean? There's a very specific timeline. There's a specific, script that you have to go through. And it seems like, not all the time, but if any one of those is messed up.
So you're saying you can
it.
never be an actor? You can't memorize lines? I get it, man.
Yeah, that's true. that's fair.
But
that's
yeah,
awesome.
So what else? Man, what else? I think that's it.
Yeah.
I'll probably remember some shit later on.
12 years, it's a lot to remember.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And we'll get into we've talked about it before, the famous question that everybody asks, cops is, what's the craziest thing you've done?
Oh, yeah.
So we'll definitely get into that a little bit later. I will introduce myself. I'll make it brief because you just talk way too long about yourself.
Oh, thanks, man. Sorry, I do that sometimes.
Just kidding. So I was actually born in Delaware. I know, most people don't even know where that's at. So there's a little tiny state
wait.
on the
Did you
East
say what
Coast.
Your name was?
Oh yeah. My name is Born in Delaware. So no, my name is Noah. Again, born in Delaware, little tiny state on the East Coast. Moved out to Idaho when I was 8, I believe, 8 or 9. And I lived in Caldwell, grew up in Caldwell. Let's see, I think I moved here in 2009. So at that time,
it's a good year.
Yeah, at that time, like you were just talking about, that's when all of the gangs and everything were pretty strong. It's pretty funny because there were spots in Caldwell I knew not to go, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But so my dad, who lived here, was I guess he started out at the prison in is it Mountain Home or Boise area, Cuna, maybe.
Like Boise, Cuna.
Okay, yeah. The eastern part of the state, just I'm gone past that, dude.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like
past
once you hit like
Boise?
no, for me Nampa, dude.
Nampa?
It's yeah. I don't
Yeah,
explore
I don't know
very
what's
much.
over there. I don't know.
A lot of people are over there. So my dad he started out in the prison, I believe, in 2003. Kind of worked his way throughout the prison there, different units. Ended up going to the probation and parole office, an extension of the state, and enjoyed his time there. Is most likely going to end up retiring there. But he had a dream that he wanted to be a cop, and I think that really stuck onto me. And we watched hours and hours and hours of Cops.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
show.
The legitimate, old school Cops before it got all woke and stuff.
Yeah.
So great. It just, that alone, that's what I'm doing. Kind of let that go for a little bit when I got older for some stupid reason, and dabbled in being an electrician. Oddly enough, I don't think I was smart enough for that. That was pretty hard.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty hard. They train you to be like electrical engineers now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when I was 21, of age now in the current times, 21, I said, I'm doing it. Saw a Facebook post, 21 years old on Facebook. Yeah, that was me. Went to testing, got the job, served 2 years in the community before I left due to some family issues. And dude, I'd always wanted to be a cop. I think it was a lot of helping the community and stuff. That's always something that I wanted to do. But I'm not gonna lie and sit here and say that it's not because I didn't want to go get the bad guys.
Right.
But that was the basis, kind of, where I started. But, like I was saying before, it was funny because there were spots in Caldwell you didn't go. And I knew that growing up. It was mainly downtown. And downtown is so much different than what it was back in 2009, 2010. So when I got the job, I thought this has to be a little bit easier because of geography. I've been here for years now. No, those streets that I never went, those were the streets that, we were mostly at.
Yeah.
And I didn't know those streets very well. So, that was hard. But, and this guy was actually one of my FTOs. I rode with him for a few days while one of my FTOs was out. It sucked. I don't know if it was you being bad luck. Because I think
That could have been.
I think I rode with you a couple of nights, but one of them I got into my first fight.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah, that was crazy. And then one of them we got a gun pointed at us. That wasn't fun. And then when I was on my own, I remember you specifically at a call that I'd showed up to, and I think it was a gun call. And I asked the dude, "Do you have any weapons on you?" And he pulled out a gun.
Yeah.
Which typically you don't do that.
No, that's a big.
That was scary. So I think I just accepted that you're bad luck.
Yeah.
You brought the shit for sure.
Yeah, that is true.
But that's the basics about me, and we're gonna have hopefully infinite amounts of footage here in the next multiple years that we'll be doing this because we're dedicated, we're determined.
Oh, yeah.
About
we got the
us.
boom mics.
Yeah, we got boom mics. It looked pretty official, so that's what we had to do. What does our show look like in the short term? Because we do have long-term goals, we have our short-term goals. What is our immediate? What are we doing immediately?
Well, I'd say what we're looking to do immediately, really, with this is obviously we want to get support, right? We need supporters.
Yeah.
Click that subscribe button.
We'll put it.
There's my plug.
Should we put it like right here?
Maybe.
We got to point at it. I don't know. I don't even know how to do that. Well, I'm sure
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. Yeah,
out.
it's fine.
Yeah. So we definitely want subscribers. We want you guys to follow along, to ask questions along this journey.
Yeah.
And that's going to come in the fashion of like a mailbag, essentially. Which perfect time to plug where to send it. It's going to go to OP, that's Ocean Paul, deskpop@gmail.com.
You still have that? Because I noticed myself at my current job doing that.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
no,
great.
yeah.
You have to.
It's there indefinitely.
Forever.
It's
maybe we can put the Gmail, like, I put my hand up here because I think
it's
like right here. Yeah, we'll put it right there. We go. Okay.
Yeah, so we want that mailbag, right? We want you guys. We want to interact with our viewers, with our people, because we're a part of this family. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna refer to you guys as family.
Oh yeah,
because that's what this podcast is about.
Absolutely,
is us being able to ask some tough questions and have some tough answers.
Yeah, and have a huge support system.
Yeah.
For all people. We're not just saying we're here to solely talk about the law enforcement. As we talked, we wanted to bring up laws. We wanted to talk to prosecuting attorneys.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day a judge will come on and talk to us. I mean, I imagine
that'll be scripted.
Oh yeah. I mean, it has to be, right? I mean, but we've talked about this before. We'll sneak something in there. We have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we have an obligation,
right,
to everybody out there watching.
We do.
So,
we do.
Yeah. So the mailbag, it definitely, I think, is going to be huge for us. And we wouldn't be able to do it without you guys, without the viewers. So, having those questions. We talked about doing just, full segments of, or full videos, just answering people's questions.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can do them live and stuff once we figure out how to do the tube like that.
Man, well, this is a learning curve, guys.
Yeah.
But it's going to be good, I promise.
I had to show them what a computer was. So.
Well, I just got the old, what was this, iPad?
The pad?
Yeah.
iPod? Yeah.
iPod?
Yeah. So... I'm
right.
super excited about that, though.
Yeah.
The mailbag.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Comments are always good, too. If
we want everything, guys. We want comments. We want shares.
Yeah.
Share this thing. Let your friends know. Let your grandma know.
Oh, yeah.
Let the dude you put in jail know, like, hey, there's a couple cops here, a couple Idaho boys that are just trying to make it, in this digital world.
Yeah.
What
better do they have to do?
I know, right?
Why don't... Okay. If you're an officer out there, tell your suspects, instead of picking up drugs, watch this YouTube video, please.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good plug.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I would say, are we therapeutic?
Well, we're gonna be.
We have to be.
Yeah.
We have to be now that I put that out there.
What else are we gonna do on this? We're gonna do body cam reviews.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. The good ones.
The bad ones.
The bad ones and the uglier ones.
Wow.
So
cliche right there.
I know. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I have to be, though. Because it isn't all rainbows and butterflies in this world. And we're not afraid to expose what needs to be exposed, I think. And I say exposed, I feel like that's a really strong word, and I love it. I love that word. So we're here to bring awareness. One of the things, actually, that we strongly wanted to bring awareness to is not only law enforcement, but the families behind those officers. And that... we want to get family members on here. Again, that we're not just trying to talk to officers. We want families here too. What is it like at home? Because I'm sure my wife could very much weigh in on this. It was not fun being a single parent. So what else? What else we got?
Long-term goals.
Yeah.
Long-term goals. What do those look like, Noah?
Ride-alongs.
Ride-alongs.
Yeah. Can we say live PD? I don't know.
I
think
don't
I
know
just did. So okay, well.
We can kind of say it.
Okay.
It's
well, I didn't say live PD.
Almost live PD.
Yeah. So not sure why they stopped doing videos.
Well,
Defund the police. That's why.
Yeah.
So we want to bring that back. Yes, there is still cops. Thankfully, there's not enough highlight in this line of work in this current climate.
Yeah.
And I strongly believe this is where we come in.
Right.
So we definitely need to get out there. I want to do ride-alongs. I want to be able to film it. Not only do we want to shoot the action stuff, oh, this is so cool, but interviews in the cars, because that's where, in my opinion, that's where our brains move, when you're sitting in your patrol car and you're going through everything. It's in that car.
Yeah.
You're by yourself. You're left to your own vices, which is scary, and that's where everything starts going. So we definitely want to start doing that. We talked about like special guests here, doing like prosecuting attorneys. We'll do family members, officers, hopefully a judge one day, to talk about various different things. And there's so many different capacities in law enforcement too. Not only the police officer, the stereotypical constable on patrol, cap. Yeah.
Nice.
There's obviously the specialized units. There's even the people in records that, bust ass all day. Evidence
I did
techs.
records, man,
Yeah.
for a minute. That's like
I couldn't
duty.
imagine.
That's light duty 101.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. I luckily didn't have to, because that kind of paperwork just scares me.
The paper cuts.
Yeah. Yeah. They're dangerous, man. What else? Oh, we did talk about something super important, and that was we do eventually want to get to a point where we can raise some money for multiple different reasons. We talked about, supporting families. There's officers who, may actually have a stay-at-home wife because, that's all that they can do,
Right.
or a stay-at-home husband. And if they are out of work and they have bills to pay, we want to be able to step in and help out wherever we can. Police departments that are having some issues with gear and, hard to get funding for gear. Private funding is always better than government funding.
Yeah, because that's money you can just put to,
Yes. So we can step in there, donating to charities such as Officer Down Memorial Page, and they help with fallen officers' families.
Yeah.
So that would be super huge for us.
Right.
And then hopefully community events, and we're not too sure what that looks like yet. So maybe we can get some ideas, but we want to put ourselves out in our local community as well. I had done that as an officer. You have done that as an officer. So it's definitely something that I miss, being out in the community and stuff. So using this platform to get back out into the community, talk to tons of people, and just spread awareness of this current climate and figure out what we can do to help. So,
and again, guys, that comes down to you. That comes down to our viewers. That comes down to the people listening to this in their patrol cars late at night.
Yeah,
trying to stay awake. I could talk real low, like Barry Manilow.
Well, we don't want to let them. We can't go to sleep now.
You're right. But like I said, it all comes down to you guys.
Yeah.
We want to make this for you and make it as fun and interactive as we can. So,
yeah. and we're gonna try and do our part in that. We're gonna continue with the content, and hopefully it just gets better and better. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're starting out low budget, but we had a vision, and it seemed silly to sit around and try and wait for money and save up when we could get out here now with the little bit that we do have and at least start this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely does come down to our viewers and just taking a second to hit subscribe,
right.
Or sending it to your friends. Sending it to your friends to say what a joke we are too. That would be great. And in the meantime, if you could hit the subscribe button, that'd be great. But that's okay. Again,
right.
we're on here because we know we're gonna get scrutinized.
Right.
And I'm excited. So I guess the question is, why are we doing this? Why specifically did you think? Because again, we went from blowing stuff up to, hey, let's open up this Pandora's box of law enforcement.
Yeah.
So why do you feel like you're doing this?
Well, you know what, guys? I think I'm doing it because I have something to give, from 12 years of doing the job.
Yeah.
Working 12-hour shifts, 15-hour shifts.
Mm-hmm.
There's some knowledge that's up in this head that someone can use at some point.
Fair enough.
Whether that's as simple as how to shine your boots to, how to successfully talk a suspect out of a room when he's holding a gun. Just anything like that.
Yeah.
It comes down to me wanting to do my part for the community, right? Because that's what us cops do. We are community oriented people,
Right.
and if I can instill and bestow some knowledge upon some young rookie, then my job is done.
Yeah. I think we should probably do a whole segment just on FTO
Oh, yeah.
for those officers that are going through it. Because if I had the podcast back then, I probably would have done so much better.
Maybe that should be episode 2.
Yeah. Stay tuned for episode 2.
Welcome to rookie camp.
The new academy.
Right. Yeah. So, on top of that, I think just having this opportunity to talk about and bounce ideas, off of each other from the cop days, is therapeutic in its own way.
Yeah.
It's fun. It was definitely a job and a career that I was 100% thankful for.
Yeah.
It taught me a lot of great strengths and qualities about myself.
Right. Right. So, and I agree with everything you say. We're hoping to be that video that you can pop on just to relax for a little bit and just join in on the conversation, honestly. And again, when you have the questions, throw them out there. Don't be afraid. We're either going to answer them or we're not. So there's no such thing as a silly question. But I guess more specifically, why I'm doing it. I too believe. Now, I was only an officer for 2 years, but
hey, it's not only 2 years, man.
Right.
Any service is service.
Yeah, right. So it seemed like I say 2 years, but holy cow, did it feel like I was a cop for 10 years? I mean, it just, again, those 15-hour days, just one after another, it just...
Legend has it that you grew that mustache because of all that year.
Yes. I could never grow facial hair up until I became a cop. So I think it was when they pinned the badge on me, it just... and I actually shaved in light of our first episode. I had to bring the cop stash back.
Yeah.
It was something I wore very proudly as a cop. So
it does look good now.
Thank you.
And
now,
look good. It looked a little bit maybe.
There's definitely
scraggly.
some people there that I can think of that had some good mustaches.
No doubt.
It may sound weird saying that now, son of a bitch. But I obviously went through FTO. I was in FTO. I'd like to say I was a very proactive police officer. And there was a lot of experience in that. I talked to some really bad people, went on some really bad cases. So hopefully just instilling a little bit of knowledge. Again, if my audience is going to be more towards the rookie, then that's fine. Because I would say the greatest time being a cop was an FTO. I loved it, dude. I absolutely loved it. And I had some good trainees too, though. And I had some ones that needed some help.
That's always nice when you get good, solid trainees.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
Well, and it was nice because I was, towards my end there. That's, when I was in FTO, I think for a couple of months, but again, felt like an eternity. They would come to me for like officer safety stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I really enjoyed that because that was something that I was so headstrong about. Every little thing, dude, it mattered to me.
Yeah.
And it should matter to everybody. I've seen some body cams out there where people are just too laxed, and articulation is a son bitch.
Yeah.
And I was pretty quick at articulating what I needed to be safe, to keep my trainees safe. And hopefully I can, pass that forward. But it doesn't end. I still look up laws. I see what kind of updates are being done in the legislative sessions and stuff. Still going to court. I've been gone for almost a year. Still going to court. So
I know. Doesn't that suck?
Yeah.
You don't get paid.
No.
Yeah.
No,
it's a donation at that point.
Yeah, they call you and say, "Hey, Officer Palmer, you don't know if you're gonna get charged with like impersonating." So you're like, no.
Like, no.
I'm not.
Who?
Yeah. So, and that's why I felt like we should do it. Not to mention, as I mentioned before, I had left because of, some issues that I felt like needed to be addressed at home and would only be done if I had left.
Family's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we need to talk about, how that is not 100% the case.
Yeah.
As I've talked to more and more people since I've left, it was one of those things that was like, well, why didn't you just come and talk to me? But I've always been a relatively closed off person. I'm pretty stoic in my feelings, and I keep that stuff all to myself. And so we're here for that. I mean, if you want to send us an email about how horrible your day was, send it.
Yeah. Full send.
Yeah, absolutely. Send it.
I'm still going to send it.
So I think we should move on to probably what everybody's been waiting for.
What's that?
What is the craziest call? Let's do call. The craziest call you've been on.
Dude.
I know. It's too broad. It's too broad.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Because your crazy is probably a lot different than my crazy. And their crazies.
Yeah. I can tell you a story. I got to think of the crazy story, but I mean, when you say that, this is the first story that comes to mind, and it is classic. Right? So, there we are. I'm training some guy.
Oh, yeah.
His name's Clayton. And so I'm training him. I can't remember. I think he was like phase 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe midway through 2 or 3. Beginning of 3.
Mm-hmm.
3 o'clock in the morning.
The good time.
Yeah. Nothing's moving. It's like a Tuesday,
mm-hmm.
right? And we're driving around kind of the hood in Caldwell.
Yeah.
And he's driving. We passed this car. So we're going east. Suspect is going west.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's a Buick. A white Buick. I'm like, this is sketch at 3 a.m., right? And so my trainee, he goes, Buick, 3 a.m.? Probably just old blue hair. Elderly female.
Yeah.
Out at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, I don't know.
There's no pharmacies open at
So I hit the plate, right? Dial it up. Immediately pops. Stolen. I'm like, oh, yes. 3 a.m. When I was just about asleep in the passenger seat, like, hey, bro, just don't hit any curbs because I'm going to take it quick.
I'm going to pray for a little bit.
Yeah, right. It's like, boom, here we go. And then it's like adrenaline dump, right? Like, oh, man, here we go. We're going to have some fun. So he immediately, dude, his like, let's go factor is almost pegged. I'm like,
through the roof.
Yeah. I'm like, whoa. Let's take a minute.
Yeah.
Let's call some other units because guess what's going to happen? We're going to get in a pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
So what's he do? Flips around on it. He waits maybe 30 seconds while I'm trying to coordinate on the radio. Hey guys, we got a rolling stolen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he hits the lights. I'm like,
here we go.
So the car pulls over, and I'm like, wow. Huh. All right. This is going to be interesting. And I remember telling him this specifically. I'm like, do not get out of the car. Like,
what did he
don't put the car in park. Get out and start walking up there.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you do that and that door pops, they're going to be gone.
Yeah.
And so he puts it in park, gets out. I'm like, oh, here we go. As soon as, dude, magic. As soon as the door popped, boom, we were off. I've never seen a 95 Buick drive so...
It was modded.
It had to be modded. It was intense, though. I mean, this car, the driver ended up being a female.
Oh.
It was driving beautiful. Like she had a load of dope in the car.
Oh, man.
Yeah. She just stole from... Who's that guy? Pablo Escobar?
the one drug guy?
Yeah, that one guy. And so we're, rolling through town, no cars, thank God, doing about, 60 in a 30, 70 in a 30.
It's dangerous.
We're going right to the freeway. I'm like, oh this is going to be fun.
And then enters, the real men.
Yes, the real men, the state troopers.
Yes.
Yeah. believe it or not, I can't believe it. There was a state trooper on at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Holy cow!
I know.
This is all in good fun because our troopers, they have, it's like business hours.
Almost, yeah.
That's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
I mean, when we have a bad crash on the freeway and you ask dispatch for Idaho State Police to be en route, they're all sleeping right now.
Yeah, well, can it hold till tomorrow at 8 a.m.?
Yeah.
So there's a state trooper on. We're hauling butt. I think there's like 4 cops deep right now. There's 5 cops for the city at this night, and 4 of them are in this pursuit. I'm like, oh man, we're definitely going to get written up for this.
Yeah, hopefully nothing pops off in the city.
Right. So the state trooper throws the spikes out. Good hit on the car.
Nice.
We still drive for,
Wow.
let's see, 2.5, almost 3 miles.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, on rims, shooting sparks. Like, it was the most badass thing that I think I had done at that point in my career.
It was like an episode of Cops.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this is just like Cops.
This is the one I became a cop
Yeah, it's
for.
like Cops, fresh pursuit, like
Yeah.
that status. And so we roll on the freeway, smoke everywhere, tires are flying, tire chunks. We get pulled over. The car just takes it right off the other side of the burrow pit, which is like the middle, or I'm sorry, on the right side of the, like where the grass and stuff would usually be. In Idaho, it's all weeds.
That all catch
It's
on
all
fire.
sagebrush, right? Catch on fire. So this car just hooks it right into the fence, like this barbed wire fence, and chick bails immediately. I'm like, all right, here we go, foot pursuit, right? So we're going. My trainee gets over. My trainee was like 6'4", so
Yeah.
pretty tall dude. I, being 5'10", get hung up on the barbed wire fence, of course.
Ooh.
Rip my jacket. Made it over, but I was a couple of steps behind that big 6'3" slide. And so we finally, get her in custody and all this stuff, and I can remember this specifically. The state trooper that spiked the girl ran up on this same car, ran over the car, hopped the barbed wire. I'm like, who is this guy? Is he like Superman?
Yes.
Dude, it was so funny. I had a great time.
Yeah.
It was
No,
good.
that sounds like fun.
Yeah. And my report was not as long as my trainee's report. That's the best part.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it is being an FTO,
Yeah,
because you're in the training process as an FTO. You're not there,
Right.
unless you have to be there.
Yeah.
And then that's where the reporting comes in and everything. But your reporting is of the officer in training.
Yeah.
Which sucked so much more, in my opinion, than writing reports. I mean, because you're bringing your own material to the table versus a report. Everybody writes it for you. You're just putting it on paper.
Right.
You take the details, you put it on paper. But that's fun.
It was a good time, dude. I also remember this chick. She was like a chola looking chick, man. She had like the blue bandana, like perfectly folded, crisp, just on her forehead.
Was creased up?
Oh yeah, creased up, dude.
Beautiful.
She had the dark eyeliner. I'm like, dang, dude, this chick is hardcore. Search the car, nothing in the car.
Wow.
What? I'm
So
like, why are
they
you
just
riding dirty?
ran for
She's
the
like,
stolen
yeah,
car?
like I was just taking this car to a buddy's house. I'm like, oh,
it wasn't her pants.
right,
So
right, close. Well, on her pants, not her car.
Oh,
Yeah.
it'll get you.
That's a story that came to mind, dude. I like telling it, dude, because you know
It's a good one.
Just an old blue hair. It's never just an old blue hair.
Not at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No.
No, they've been passed out for hours
Yeah,
by
right,
now,
yeah.
like 7:30, 6 o'clock.
6, man.
Yeah,
They're having dinner and then supper.
that's true.
and then
Early
straight to
bird.
bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, what is my craziest story, man? This is probably a hard question. It's probably not my craziest. However, it's my most WTF just happened
Yeah.
call. So patrolling the streets as I did when I wasn't taking calls. It was probably close to 3 o'clock in the morning. Saw
Like
an
all
old
good things happen.
Yeah. So saw an old tattered up or tattered down, I guess. Tattered
I think it's just tattered.
Pickup. Caught my attention. It was like barely moving forward on the boulevard, which, it drew my attention to it. So I ran the license plate, came back stolen.
Nice.
Mind you, this was my second day by myself with nobody in the car.
So you knew exactly what to do.
I knew right off the bat. I hit those lights.
Yep,
man.
yep.
No, I got behind it, saw the plate. I called it out. He saw me too quick, though. He saw me too quick. So he tried ducking away into the McDonald's parking lot. And so naturally I hit my lights. So, I could effect an arrest on this individual.
Whoa, hey, we're on the stand right now.
That's true, right? So hit my lights as he was turning in, and he went out the other side. He went out the other entrance, and I thought, here we go. This is going to be a crazy pursuit. No, he turned on the other street and went back into McDonald's 4 or 5 times.
So you guys
we did circles, like going 20 miles an hour. My first pursuit, man, 20 miles an hour, going circles in a McDonald's parking lot. And I'm trying to coordinate officers there, and they're asking, like, what street? Well, I'm on this street now. No, never mind. We're on here now. We're in the parking lot again.
We're
just doing circles now.
Yeah, right. There you go.
So it was just a stolen plate. So honestly, my goal was to just conduct a traffic stop and go up and let this guy know, hey, you stole $20 worth of a license plate back there.
Right.
That it didn't go down like that. After you do not abide by the lights, you're hiding something. Is it a weapon? I don't know. Is it dangerous drugs? I don't know. So it turned in naturally to a I'm not going to say felony stop because that's a stupid word. A high risk stop. It turned into a high-risk stop, and he caught a lot of misdemeanors.
Nice.
First pursuit by myself, and all misdemeanors.
That's a good story.
Just round and round and round.
Probably couldn't even get him for felony elude, huh?
Oh God, no. He wasn't dangerous enough. He was an old man who had health problems.
Yeah.
Did find weed in the center console.
The devil's lettuce.
Yep. Diablo. What is it? Lechuga del Diablo.
Yeah.
So did find some marijuana. So like I said, he got some misdemeanor charges. Good. And he was out within 20, 30 minutes maybe. So that was definitely one of my what the heck is going on moments. But and again, it was probably just because it was like my first time being on my own.
Yeah.
That's when oh man, it's nerve-wracking setting up your car for yourself for the first time. Obviously, you get used to it, but
that's good stuff.
Yeah,
it's good.
But I will say, we'll have to, because I do have a question for you, and I'm pulling this out my ass for you. My craziest story as an FTO. We got a call for, I think some dude was like knocking on windows and doors, 1 to 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah. The witching hour.
Yeah, so we get called and somebody's saying, they're trying to break in. So we show up. I'm there with my trainee, and we are looking in the back, and we hear, here's some shuffling going on, and so it naturally draws our attention, and we see this dude like hunkered down, and so naturally we're like, police, let me see your hand, start yelling, and he just books it through the backyard to go to the other side of the fence.
Did you have containment on the other side of the fence?
Not yet.
Oh.
Not yet. Backup was very close, and they got there in impeccable timing. However, I think he was my trainee at this time. He's a big burly dude, and he goes to chase after bad guy, and he goes to hop a fence. The boards of the fence snap in half, and he falls off, and he ends up just taking more of the fence, just rips it down,
yes.
and goes after this dude. But him being a trainee, he didn't get on the radio and say foot pursuit. He yelled at everybody around who was watching the foot pursuit. Oh. Foot pursuit!
Leroy!
we're in a foot pursuit. That was probably my best, story as an FTO. It was pretty good. He got nicknamed the Kool-Aid Man.
That's
because he just went through it. He just went through the fence.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. Obviously, either the city paid for it or the citizen was thankful enough that we were there.
Yeah,
as this guy was actually actively trying to break into her house,
committing a felony.
He was scared because people were chasing him and trying to get to him. They were going to kill him.
Oh, not his pants.
It turned out he was just really, really high. I wouldn't have guessed that. But so you've been an FTO for a long time. And I know you said that was one of your craziest stories, but specifically, as an FTO, what first comes to your mind that's either, funny, crazy, dangerous, whatever?
Oh man, as an FTO, I think that call by the hospital where I'll just tell it. So we got a guy, family member calls in to dispatch.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, my son is freaking out. This guy's just lost it, right? Breaking stuff in the house, causing a ruckus.
Mm-hmm. Again,
this is real late at night.
Yep.
Probably like 1 or so. And we get there. And of course, it's a quick response time because we were at the hospital having dinner.
Our snacks.
Quote unquote, snack time.
Yeah, snack time.
Yep. And so quick response time, maybe within, a minute. And we are not catching call updates from dispatch because the way it worked for us, it was just like on the computer system. Mm-hmm. So, they would relay some stuff, not some stuff, just kind of depend, right?
Well, and the delay is always...
Right, the delay is the worst.
Yeah.
And so we roll there, and you're driving, I'm riding passenger.
Yeah.
Trusting my life.
Second phase I was. Yeah. So I had only been I can't even call it a cop, but I was on the streets for, what is that, 8 weeks?
8 weeks.
8 weeks, man.
Yeah. Big stuff.
Yeah. But.
And so we hop out of the car, and it's like guns out, right? Because at this point we get out, and we see homeboy sprawled out over the back of a truck in the driveway with a big freaking gun.
Yeah.
That
it could take a moose down.
Oh yeah. 308.
Yeah.
It was a big 308. And so I'm probably, sucking up some cotton. You're definitely sucking up cotton because you're on the job so young. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna do work tonight.
Yep.
So as soon as, and I remember this man drawn down, taking the gun out, and it's like the dad just runs and gets between the cops and the potential bad guy.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of at this little standstill.
Yeah.
And finally, I remember dad getting out of the way, son, for whatever dad said or somebody said, it just snapped him back to reality.
Miracle.
Like, oh, there goes gravity.
Yeah.
And so comes back, we get him hooked up, and we're taking guns off this guy left and right. Yeah. Guns, bullets, magazines, everything. He's got a whole backpack, like his go bag, just ready to go, right?
Yeah.
And he's freaking out still, just upset at the world, refused to get in the car, and you cool as a cucumber after that, man. You were good.
I had to save face, man. I was definitely like, I was shaking a little bit, man. Mm-hmm. It in a literal sense shakes you up. Having a gun pointed at you, especially a big, powerful one. I can't sit here and say like, oh, if I had a little one pointed at me, that I would be okay. But it's the pulling in. You're in a confined space. There's no way to duck out very quickly. You're in a car, and he was scoped in as we came down that street.
You remember what he said?
What did he say? He said, I can't remember who specifically he told, but I remember him specifically telling me, and I think he told some other people. But he was like, I just want to let you know I had you in my scope, and my bullets would have gone right through your vest.
Yeah.
I was like,
Good,
yeah, they would have
good,
actually. And the only thing he cared about was getting his guns taken away.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Yeah, so that's a story that like is like as an FTO man, I'm like, you got to instill some trust in people, and you know, you pass the test.
Well, you have to, I mean, you have to instill trust, and then at the same time, you have to trust this person. So, like, and that's the hard part as an FTO. Can I trust this person? You know,
Right?
And yeah, that was sketch, dude.
Yeah.
He ended up going to the hospital and stuff because he had some things he had to work out.
Yeah, went on mental hold and all that business.
Yeah, but that was pretty scary.
Yeah.
I've seen him around a few times.
Really?
Yeah.
You
seen him
waved
around.
Hey,
No,
hey,
it's he doesn't remember me,
Oh.
thankfully, because I feel like that'd be an awkward conversation
Yeah.
after. Hey, man, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to point a big, powerful gun at you. I'm sorry. I don't bring it up, obviously.
Yeah.
I didn't lose sleep. I lost sleep over it. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, no, because that was my first.
Did you go home and tell the wife? Were you like,
No. She's gonna find out, you know, eventually. But no, I didn't. I think that's our job.
Yeah, I don't think I would have told mine.
You know, because you don't want them to worry and stuff. But that was definitely my first experience of like, oh my God, this is real. People are dangerous.
Yeah.
And yeah, that I remember going back to the locker room and just putting my head on my locker, just like, holy cow. And then surprisingly showed up the next day.
Yeah. You're like, hey, I want some more.
And I think that may or may not have been when I got in my first fight the next day. Because I know
it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, because I know I was riding with you specifically for like I think it was like 2 or 3 days when my FTO was out. But that might even have been when my first fight actually was, and that was crazy. Right. I mean, he was ready.
Yeah,
you know,
he was ready.
He sprawled for a while.
Yep.
So
it was a good time.
And then his girlfriend, I think, came and tried to attack me.
Yeah, they always do. They always do.
You gotta protect. You know,
right.
you protect your man.
Right. Your mans.
Your mans. Mans was a bad dude, and Mans went to prison.
Yes.
So, Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Corn Pop was.
So, we should probably wrap it up, right?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
You guys are probably done with.
All right, this is episode 1. We're gonna talk for hours.
Yeah, come on. So no, you guys know a little bit about us now. Hopefully, we're gonna get to know a little bit about you guys. And for the officers that are watching this, if you want an interview, email us on that email, opdeskpop@gmail.com, and we can hook it up either on Zoom or figure something out, because we want to hear from everybody. If you're a law enforcement family member and you want to talk to us, let's do it.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to be interviewed, or
we can keep identities discreet too, if that's a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know there's some agencies that are like, hey, not cool with having your opinion out there.
Yeah, no, we're totally cool with doing that. We understand, and you don't have to give your name, you don't have to give where you work. All we're asking for is experiences here. You know what I mean? Stories, experiences, and trials and trepidations, so on and so forth. So we're not asking you to come out here and this is my name, this is my badge number, this is where I live, or this is my husband or wife's name, badge number, this is where we live. We're not interested in any of that. So reach out to us though, so we can figure it out. With that, thank you guys so much for tuning in for, I don't even know how long this is yet. I can't even see. Too long probably.
Yeah,
but we appreciate you guys watching. We will be back next week.
Yep.
Hopefully with something. We might even just do the FTO thing, man.
Yeah.
That could be, I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. You guys want to know the FTO stuff? We could do that.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Again, guys, subscribe, tell your friends, get the word out there. Operation Despop is here to stay. Thanks for tuning in.
First episode. Done.